117 Tech Talk. This is 117 Tech Talk of Tech Forum. We appreciate the response that we are getting. And today's topic is growing your inner wealth. You all know we are running so far 4 episodes about the healthcare for the top performing executives. This is another aspect of inner health. And inner health is something growing in your inner health involves cultivating qualities like gratitude or mindset. And this is most important for the performing executives. And Vikas has written a very nice book on this topic, and he has given a lot of anecdotes as well as the examples. Very interesting about the executives and, of course, the common man also. You all know Vikas has over 30 years of experience. He's an ex-Philippian, helping leaders and organizers to achieve full potential. He's an IIT Bombay graduate and has conducted more than 150 leadership programs and 3,000 hours of coaching across industries like tech, pharma, and manufacturing. His mission is to empower leaders to navigate challenges and drive meaningful change. And if you want to create such leaders, you need to take care of their overall health, like from mental health, physical health, and whatnot. And Tech Forum is proud to have such five episodes on this topic. I was fortunate to attend the book release of Vikas at Hotel Pride, and it was really appreciated by audience August gathering. So, without spending much time, I will request Vikas to start his presentation. It's going to be a really interesting topic. So, over to you, Vikas. Please take it up.
Thank you, Vilasji. Thank you, everyone, for being here on a Sunday morning. This is the first time I am joining a tech forum session, so I hope that those who have attended the previous sessions will find it worthwhile. And as Vilasji said, that we all are often focused on technology and other aspects to improve our quality of life. Um, there are also other techniques, and then there is something what I call as a technology which God has given, which we have not leveraged enough to make our life more richer and more interesting. And that's what always kept me thinking that why, some people seem to do so much and are always, joyful and contributing to things, and why others are, looking morose and not doing something about it. So these thoughts were always around, and luckily, while I was thinking on a topic, how to lead with authenticity. So the word authenticity caught my attention, and that's where I, started writing down a few thoughts, and that few thoughts then expanded into a book, and that's how this title, "Growing Your Inner Wealth," came around. One of the fundamental things is that as much as we are keen to have good health, we are also keen to have a good amount of wealth. Um, I don't think I have met a single person who says that I would like to be poor, right? So everyone wants to be rich in their own way. Now, some people will be happy with a one-bedroom flat, some people will be happy with a bungalow, some people will want a palace, but yet no one will ever say that I don't want anything or I want to be poor, right? Now that's the definition of wealth, that we always want to accumulate, we want to get, because if we don't have that, we can't enjoy some of the privileges which wealth provides us. So, so we all have a tendency to, look towards and focus on growing our wealth. Now, this wealth can have many meanings, external wealth or outer wealth, as I call it. Um, is about also not just getting money, but also sometimes acquiring knowledge, getting degrees. These are also forms of wealth. Acquiring power is also a kind of wealth which many people crave for. So all this is definitely seen in the society. We are all chasing something. But then what happens if you just not focus on those outer manifestations? what are those dimensions or qualities which are there in inside, and how do we understand the technology of that? How do we kind of leverage that? Is what got me thinking. So when you say that, okay, I think this person is authentic, what comes to your mind? This is a question for the audience.
Honest, one quality.
Honest, yeah, very, very true.
Walk the
Integrity.
talk. Walk the
Walk the
talk.
talk, yeah. So whatever that person says, he would do that. There is a certain integrity about that. Very true. Any other thoughts?
If if you don't know, he'll not hesitate to say, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, being humble about not knowing
Being humble.
things. Yeah, okay, very, very true. Yeah, so walking the talk, humility, integrity, all these qualities are there. And apart from that, of course, people who are modest, people who believe in caring, believe in something bigger than themselves, are the people who we relate to as authentic. So when you look at that what makes them authentic? What are the things which power them? I was looking for qualities which are there, and those qualities can be actually worked upon. And that is how the inner wealth concept came around. So, when you look at these qualities, I've defined them as assets because we all want to acquire assets, whether it's land, gold, or other things. So, how can we make these inner assets also grow? And that was the whole thought process. The authenticity is a outcome of this, which means when people have these qualities, they are seen as authentic. Just like when someone is riding a nice car, then you know that this person is a rich person, or this person is having some wealth. Similarly, these qualities, when we have, they start manifesting in terms of, okay, this person is definitely having inner richness. And that is what I started looking into. So this is the framework which I have defined, and the outcome of this is that you feel very rich from within. Now that is a feeling. It is something which I've tried to quantify. And how do we measure that? How do we do that? And of course, it also provides, strength to take care of outside situations. So whenever there is chaos, whenever there is challenges, it gives us that strength and resilience to deal with that. Now, that is where this book is very practical oriented. It doesn't get into the domain of certain aspects of spirituality, like what is a spirit, who is God, and stuff like that, or afterlife or karma. But what I have focused on here is to say that, okay, we are living a life anyway. I mean, we are all breathing, so we are living on this planet. But how to make it a more of a celebration? How do we make it more joyful? How do we make it more interesting? And that's what the focus is here on the inner wealth. Let me go a little further. I'll just change the slide. So what is inner wealth? As I told you, that inner wealth is a set of qualities or assets. I've defined as assets, but when I use the word quality, because sometimes it may not be easy for someone who's hearing this topic for the first time to relate to that. But whether you call it quality or assets, the meaning is same. So this set of qualities is the one which provides you the inner richness, ones which gives you the ability to experience life in its fullness. It also gives you the emotional strength to go through difficult moments. It's also your natural spark, curiosity, warmth, and clarity, which you bring as part of your authenticity, and a presence which makes other people comfortable and safe. So, these are things which often also make for great leaders and people who encourage others. And many of us in this forum also demonstrate that. And that is something which is remarkable, because it's not just that we are all poor right now from inside. We all have a certain amount of these qualities for sure. But can we grow it? Can we make it even better? And that's what I started looking into. One of the interesting things which I observed was that these qualities or these assets are there in every newborn. You know, If you look at a newborn, they are very curious, they are very courageous, they are very enthusiastic, they are very participative, and somewhere over the time, as they grow up and as the education and the parents and the society starts brainwashing them, we see different behaviors emerging. Some people become fearful, some people become sadistic, some people become, so all kind of negative qualities get embellished. Now this is very interesting because our mind is supposed to become sharp and help us navigate around the world, right? So, for example, a small child does not know how to cross the road. But then, when he understands that to cross the road, you have to ensure that there is a safe passage, which means there are no vehicles or no threats. So, essentially, we are being trained to recognize a threat. And and then, of course, the perception of threat level can vary from person to person. Some people can cross a road even when the traffic seems to be moving or there is heavy traffic, and some people will wait for the pedestrian signal to become green and then only they will walk. So what does that signify? It means that there is a mental conditioning which is happening, and that mental conditioning can be very, very strong, or can be just sufficient to help us navigate around the world. But the more this gets embedded in our minds, and that is a technology which is very, very interesting, because our mind is a programmable device, and that programming largely happens till youth, but still there is a little bit of uh, plasticity which is still there, and that often has been studied in the field of psychology as neuroplasticity, which means that we as human beings acquire our we understand the patterns of the world, and then we create a mental framework or a mental model in our minds. Like, for example, these kind of people are dangerous, don't do this, or we start making associations. For example, red is a color for danger. um, and these associations are helpful, as I say, we to navigate around the world, but sometimes it becomes an obsession. Sometimes they just overpower us, and getting away, or removing these frameworks which are so hardened in our minds, can take a lot of effort, and can be very frustrating. So you often see people dealing with fear, stress, anxiety, restlessness. So all these qualities are because of the mental frameworks which we have acquired. Now, while it's okay to say that, okay, these mental frameworks are not good for us, but the question is, how do you deal with that? And that is where you cannot say that if I am getting stressed about something, just forget about it or don't think about it, because you are going to think about it. So this is something which all humans do struggle with. Now, the other practices, or the other way to dismantle this, is to say, okay, I want to increase my neuroplasticity. I want to move away from this mental conditioning. Is there something else I can do? And that is where I'm looking at the state where the hippocampus or the neocortex center of reasoning is developed, but parallelly, the emotional part of the brain can still be further invoked and can be looked into to develop the qualities which we want, and that is the basis of this inner wealth, right? So let's dive a little more and understand that what happens. And so the question which many people ask me is that, okay, so are you saying that outer wealth is not necessary and inner wealth is important? My answer is very simple. Both are important, right? So if you think that outer wealth is inner wealth will give you everything, the answer is no. Inner wealth will give you an inner framework to work around your life. Outer wealth is also necessary to get things done. And a person who enjoys both, or who has abundance, a lot of inner wealth and outer wealth, how would you describe that person? Anyone?
Happy. He would be
Yeah,
happy.
happy. Also, someone who's uh, having outer wealth also can be happy. But let's say, okay, or someone who does not have wealth, outer wealth also may be still happy. Any other things which come to your mind?
Cool and calm.
Cool and calm, yeah. Okay. I'm talking of both. Both inner and outer wealth
Yeah,
is
yeah.
visible in that person.
Okay.
Anything would you see, would you kind of experience by interacting with that person?
No arrogance. No arrogance.
No arrogance. Yeah, in spite of having all the wealth, he would still be, you know,
Humble, you can.
humble. I'm just looking at the chats. Okay, is there anyone? No, okay. Yeah, so the way I would say it is that okay, people who bring both inner wealth and outer wealth, or they are blessed with both, are what I call as a complete person. So people who are experiencing the luxuries of life and still they are so grounded that they are not getting carried away and they are not uh, trying to show off that they have some wealth out there because they feel that whatever they have been blessed with, they need to use it for the benefit of others. So it's not about accumulating, it is the accumulation itself is now converted into giving to others. And as they are giving, they are still growing their wealth, both inner and outer. And that is what we all can aim for to make our life much more beautiful and much more interesting than just having one of the dimensions, right? People who have who focus on inner wealth and don't focus on outer wealth, I often call them, they are like monks. Yeah, they are like saints who don't want anything. They want to live a simple life. So many of the um, sadhus have gone to the Himalayas or stay in very, very um, sparse kind of a living. That is someone who are really focused on their inner wealth because they just don't want anything of the outer world, right? Because they feel that your soul, your atma itself is so satisfying that you don't need to do anything, and they have their own reason to be there. So the question is, can the entire society live like that? The answer is no. And then of course you have people who have a lot of outer wealth but a lot of but very little inner wealth. Now, their living is of no fun because they seem to be having a lot of money, a lot of assets and other stuff at their disposal, but they may not be enjoying at all. And they may be actually suffering, and they might be feeling very hollow from inside. And that also you have seen a lot of movies around that. Any movie which you can remember of a person who's very rich, but you know, not feeling very happy from within? Any movie or any kind of character you can think of?
Actually, there are plenty characters, but movie I don't remember now.
Okay, which character? Any character which you can think of?
There are plenty character. On the contrary, what you are pointing it out as a calm person is
Hmm.
very difficult to pronounce that character. You said it's in general sadhu and all that, but it is very
Hmm.
difficult to name the exact person what you are intent to talk. But
No,
other
I'm talking of
all
outer wealth. The
outer
person
with
who is,
all other persons are like that only. All characters, all
yeah.
are that.
Okay. And then there are, of course, people whom we know that who neither have inner wealth or outer wealth, and that is really life not worth living. So because you are not happy from inside and you are not rich from outside, so why would you want to really even be living like that? And that is something which the society has to focus to uplift them. But we are not talking of societal upliftment. We are just saying that, okay, how can I tune myself into my inner wealth? So let's get going into that. How do we tune in? And that's what I will now talk about, right? As I said, it is why it matters is because it helps you, deal with low fulfillment in spite of high achievement. So, for example, a lot of high achievers who have got a lot of fame, success, still feel not so fulfilled from within. Um, Again, if you look at connectivity, we are connected with so many people over WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc. But the real connections are very few, and that is what people are experiencing. That the technology helps us connect widely, but deeper connections are fewer. Again, we are still living in an in high information age. Everything is getting available at a fingertip, and yet we are not able to reflect properly. Yeah. Again, high ambition, but a lot of low inner stability. You have kids committing suicide because they couldn't get a certain amount of marks or they didn't get an iPhone, and that is what they were aspiring for, or that was their ambition. And when that was not fulfilled, they did this drastic action of committing suicide. So this indicates that the inner stability is very low, and people get perturbed at the slightest denial of something which they have been seeking, and that is a grave matter. So in that sense, whether it is for people who are, achieved a lot, or people who have not achieved and they are still struggling, in all these cases, inner wealth still matters. And I was talking to the director of IIT Bombay yesterday, and the peer pressure on students is so high, not just peer pressure but parental pressure, that even if they get a little less mark, the parents get anxious. Will you get a job? Will you be able to go to a good company? And that is something which makes them get even more stressed, because the pressure is always there to achieve, and the pressure is always there to be more ambitious, and people really degrade the quality of their life, and sometimes then they end up doing a stupid thing. So the idea is that inner wealth is a very practical and useful thing for all people at all ages, and that is why I feel that the this message should um, reach everyone. Now, why it is different from a typical spiritual approach? Because I felt that as an engineer, and when we are working in Philips, uh, we're always focusing on numbers, on measures. How do I measure this? How do I define this? And sometimes there are plenty of good books on spirituality, philosophy, but very few of them will offer a measurable framework, right? We also have a lot of spiritual stories, and they're very inspiring stories. But when you actually look at what is the scientific understanding behind that, that is not often brought out. So when you can blend a scientific and spiritual approach, then it becomes much more believable, because at one end you are having an uplifting and inspiring story, and the second is where you are actually also looking at the science behind that, right? Um, Similarly, when we talk of our own emotions, we have so much confusing terms, and that is where I thought that let's define emotions. So, for example, um, while satisfaction is an emotion, is satisfaction a wealth? Because satisfaction is an outcome. So, how do we define what is the source and what is the outcome? And that is what the book has attempted to define. Yeah. And then this gives a common language, and there are many practices which we have defined in the book, and these practices are very simple. For example, I'll talk about that. That we all know that like doctors say that if you want to maintain good health, you should keep drinking a lot of water, and anywhere between 3 to 4 liters. And sometimes they talk in terms of 8 glasses of water. I'm going to just take a sip of water. And we do that because we know that without water, there is no life. But then, similarly, we also know that a person who's enjoying his life would definitely be smiling. He cannot be just keeping no smile on his face. So, why do we stop smiling? Why do we forget to smile? So, we thought that, okay, smiling is a fundamental act. Babies always smile, they are smiling at every small thing. So, why can't we keep smiling, and why can't we the thing? So the app and the ecosystem which we have and the practices which we have created in the book are about taking care of these simple things, which make for an interesting living. Uh, and For example, I was talking about the smile. So where is that smile thing gone? Over here. So this is a capture from the app which you can download through a QR code, which is there in the book itself, or you can directly go to the App Store and download the app. So here, for example, what you are seeing is a screen grab, and in one screen grab I'm not smiling, and it is saying that my smile score is just about less than 1%. In other case it is very close to 100%. So the app itself reminds people that, okay, you have not smiled, you have not recorded, so why don't you try out, take a small selfie, and you can, get a rating. Now I showed this app to a couple of kids, and they were so excited because they keep looking at their smile and say, "Hey, I got 100%. Hey, I got 60%." So even the act of smiling can become a very contagious and a very this thing. So if you feel that, okay, I want to make my life interesting, just smile, and the app will remind you. And that is the simplicity of it. That uh, the inner wealth is not built by very complex algorithms. It is not built by very complex technology. It is not built by very very logical stuff, but simple actions which we can do in our lives to make it a very fulfilling life and build the inner wealth, right? So who is this for? Is it for people who are doing well but they don't feel well from inside? Yeah, the answer is yes. If you are doing well from the outside, you're getting everything. You're getting promotions. You're getting your um, salary raises, you're getting a lot of awards, but still from inside you are not feeling that well, then this is a book which you would like to read, right? Or sometimes some people just feel that I lost my spark. I don't know. I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing something, but I don't feel connected. Now that is where the inner wealth is probably missing. Yeah. If someone just says, I want to be more authentic and centered, then also, yeah, this is a great, you know, book to read. Or I want to be more authentic, definitely, because inner wealth is a book, is a concept which can be applied to everyone. Now, you might be feeling that I've been talking about the benefits of inner wealth. I've been talking of how it helps us navigate through the world, how it helps us relate to our emotions better and lead a happy and authentic life. But I haven't described that inner wealth, right? Because that is what I am urging you to do. Read the book and also figure out for yourself as to which aspects of inner wealth are somewhere you would like to focus on. Now, briefly, the 7 qualities which make up for the inner wealth, I will reveal here. So, the first inner wealth is courage. Courage is something which we all know we need in life, and we have also done acts of courage. And you might think I'm not a courageous person, but you definitely have done acts of courage. Can anyone share an act of courage which you have done, even though it might not sound very courageous, but it is still an act of courage?
Yeah, sir. This is Suresh Padia here.
Yeah, hi Suresh. Yeah.
Yeah. I am basically an engineer, and almost 9 years of job, I felt no, I should be my own. And
Yes.
Gujarati, and the it's in our DNA that
Yeah.
you need to have your own business. So there is a lot of objection from my elder brother, of course, who has made me the engineer. He has financed
Mm-hmm.
me, and we have lived almost together for more than 25 years. But still, my wife supported, and I became an entrepreneur, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So, in spite of my brother said कि he is basically मतलब गुस्से वाला लड़का है, किसी की बात नहीं सुनता है, ये लड़का कैसे बिजनेस कर सकता है?
Mm.
He is right in his own way, but still,
Correct.
I felt no, I can improve on my shortcomings. and
Yep.
I must do it. And finally, my wife supported, and I became an entrepreneur, sir.
Wonderful. So that transition from being in a job to entrepreneurship was
I
an
will
act
also
of courage.
I will also like to share.
Sure.
I was I was doing some consultancy in Kenya in 2003, and I was at a gunpoint for 45 minutes. There was gun robbery,
Oh,
and in spite of that, exactly after about 18, 19 years, I was doing consultancy during COVID with some group in Nigeria, and they said, "Why don't you come for 2 years?" So it was very difficult for me to take this decision, but family again supported, and I spent exactly 2 years in Nigeria with two gunmen, with always with me whenever I used to travel from house to airport or airport to some person meetings. So
Real brave, sir. You are really brave.
yeah, yeah. In spite of the
I will
danger
not.
to
I
your
will not
life.
call myself because there are. It's very, very. People who stay there for many years and they run businesses. I salute them.
Yes.
So, as compared to them, we are just nothing. But when we think of ourselves and our family, maybe I think we are courageous.
Yeah. Wonderful. Anyone else? Anyone else has a story of courage to share? So I'll share one of my stories of courage. I mean, there are many, but I'm not saying I'm a very courageous person, but why it's important to share these stories is because then you never know that if someone else is looking for a source of courage, and courage is also very contagious, just like a smile is, right? So we can always get inspiration from other stories of courage, other people's stories of courage. So for mine was that when COVID happened, and of course we all you know uh, put at home. There was a lockdown and stuff like that, and I was following the news about vaccine development and things like that. And finally, I got to know that there's a vaccine trial which is going to happen in India for the this not Covaxin. What was it? Covaxin, and it is going to be done at Sassoon. Um, so they are going to enroll volunteers, and I said that hey, I would like to be a volunteer, because if we want to get past this whole COVID thing, then we will need vaccines, and um, what better way than to offer yourself to be a volunteer. Now, of course, there are risks, and that is where the courage is required. So, of course, there was a lot of objection from my family. I said, "Why are you volunteering? There are so many other people who can volunteer." I said, "That's exactly the point. If everyone starts thinking that someone else can volunteer, then who's going to volunteer?" And that is where the action of courage comes. So I went ahead. I got myself vaccinated in October 2020. That is well before uh, everyone else got a vaccine, and I think that vaccine also helped me during the second wave. And more importantly, is that because of this vaccine uh, being successful, and all the volunteers, and I was not even in um, the third, I was in the third phase of clinical trial, but those who had gone through first phase and second phase, obviously they were even more braver, and they demonstrated that courage and that faith in things. So one of the things which also, as I said, is apart from courage, what helps us navigate better in life is faith, and faith and belief are very interchangeable terms. And in faith, we call that Shraddha. Now, often people who are logical minded think that faith is stupidity, or having faith in God, or having faith in some abstract rituals is not true, but is not good. But I think I differ, because faith is fundamental to life. We always have faith in something or other. Is there anyone who can say that I have faith in nothing and no one? We have. The
No,
simple
nobody
thing.
can say like that because even that fellow also will has the faith in nothing.
That's a very good one. That's a very good one. If you even say that I have no faith and I have faith in nothing, then also you are saying that you have faith in something, right? But yeah, starting from, like, for example, we know that the sun will come up, you know, we know that, and fate doesn't always mean that it is about positive. For example, if you touch an electric wire, you will get a shock. That also is a faith, right? Is a belief because you know that it is going to be true. Um, but there is some other kind of faith which is also important, and faith in the system, in the people, which helps us navigate better because it gives us a lot of ability to take steps forward. So to move through the life, apart from courage, the other qualities which I took forward, and this one part is the faith, but the second quality which I described as an asset is enthusiasm. Yeah. Now, enthusiasm is also very interesting because it is not given by outside, it is from inside. Now, what makes us more enthusiastic? What are the things which destroy our enthusiasm? Now, that's very interesting to note, right? Because just like wealth can be created and wealth can be destroyed, inner wealth also can get destroyed, right? So, whether it is courage, for example, if you, let's say, have some courage, how does it get destroyed? What can destroy our courage?
Discouragement from others.
Discouragement from others can be, yeah, but what are our own actions which can destroy courage?
Inaction.
Wonderful. Inaction, procrastination, or just being too
Fear.
comfortable. Yeah.
Fear also can destroy it. Yeah.
Fear. Yeah. Fear is the opposite of courage, but yeah, excessive fear can also stop us from taking an action. Our own laziness can be also detrimental to the courage. And so these
Sir,
are the things
one
which
more,
are,
one more,
yeah,
one more.
sure.
लोग क्या कहेंगे?
Ah, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, लोग क्या कहेंगे?
That is what I
Because
call criticism from others.
correct, correct. Yeah, so fear of criticism, fear of losing control, fear of many other things can stop us from being courageous. So, similarly, in enthusiasm, also, we lose our enthusiasm. And the second part of the book talks about what are the well destroyers. Like, for example, we see a lot of people, especially as we get elder, we tend to complain a lot. How many of you have noticed this tendency?
Yes,
That
sir. I have noticed. You are right, sir.
Yeah. So again, this requires an act of courage because when you say that, my tendency to complain has increased, right, as I have aged, is acknowledgement that somewhere our nature is saying that, okay, we are complaining. Why do we complain? And complaining has some therapeutic value also. Like, for example, when you complain, you are also, in a way, letting go of your, pressure. And that is something which is inherent in human beings. But when you do complain a lot more, what is happening inside us?
Discomfort and uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, no, some people are actually comfortable complaining. They just complain about everything. They complain about the weather, the traffic, the government, the job, the colleagues, the family, neighbors. बहुत होता है उनके पास कंप्लेन करने के लिए. So what happens but because of that? What's happening in our inner self when we are complaining a lot more?
Negative thoughts, obviously.
Negative thoughts and
No, sometimes these guys get converted into criticizers. They start
hmm,
criticizing others. And
yes,
sometimes once you are criticized, you feel that you are somebody who is not doing anything. And then that discourages you from doing and performing. So
yeah,
that is a very dangerous phase in one's life because if you are performing, somebody after complaining starts criticizing you, and that is the area where you need to control yourself.
yeah. One of the best things I figured out or heard from this thing was that if you are just criticizing and it basically implying that you are not taking action. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you are not taking action, you are not growing. And this is so fundamental because life is all about two things: movement and growth, right? Uh, now, my
Sir,
parents' name,
one more thing.
yes,
Pardon me. The other fellow said about the age-related complaining or that kind of
as
uh,
we age more, huh?
as you age. That somebody said now before Vilas Rabdeji said something. There was one person who said about the age.
Yes,
As
I
you
only
grow,
mentioned it. Yeah.
yeah, as you grow, that you feel like you are losing the confidence or whatever it is. Okay.
Yes.
One more thing is happening with the age, which is very obvious and very commonly seen, is a nostalgia. They live in the
Yes.
past tense more. They don't live in the present tense and future tense. They live in the
Yes.
past tense. So they live in nostalgia.
Yes. Absolutely.
पुरानी बातें
Yeah.
पुराने अनुभव.
हाँ, मैं जब ऐसा था, या हम
हाँ,
जब ऐसे
नहीं,
थे.
मैंने ऐसा किया लाइक
Correct,
दैट.
correct, correct.
वो
Yeah,
मैं बहुत बढ़ जाता है एक्चुअली.
correct. So
So
this is also.
that is not a sign of wealth, inner wealth.
Yes, that is a destroyer, inner wealth destroyer, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
called comparing. So if you keep comparing and complaining, then you are destroying your peace, you are destroying your joy, you are destroying your courage, you are destroying your love. Everything which is, valuable from inside is getting destroyed. So what is happening is that when our inner wealth is low, we are experiencing a lot of negative emotions. Yeah. So negative emotions is not because the situation outside us has become very difficult. It's because our inner wealth is low. So negative emotions, become more strong inside us. Yeah. So when you have anxiety, it means that the inner wealth of faith and courage is running low. When you are experiencing anger, that means your peace and your faith inside you is disturbed. The love inside you is gone. So sadness is again, your love is missing. Yeah. And when you are having jealousy or insecurity, again, that means your faith and joy and curiosity are getting destroyed. So when you look at it and when you understand the entire framework, that these seven core assets which I've described, and of course there can be more types also. There are many types of wealth which we can cultivate. Uh, but when you have any of this wealth missing or it is on low quantity, the tendency to experience negativity in life will go up. So that's why I said this: building inner wealth or growing inner wealth is a perfect antidote to people who are experiencing any kind of negative uh, emotions, including anxiety, anger, sadness, etc., etc. So just like I talked about the wealth destroyers like complaining and comparing, there are also wealth growers like the smiling act, which I talked about, right? So, um, yeah, so the one which I talked about. Similarly, we have something called giving. Yeah. So our society is now very well tuned towards accumulating, but in growing inner wealth, to accumulate inner wealth, you also have to give. Now, how can you give? You can give your time, you can give your money, you can give your expertise, and this is what makes life richer. And Vilasji, I definitely admire your, giving nature. You are doing so much for the society, organizing tech forums, organizing various kind of activities, and promoting different kind of things which are building, inner wealth. Not just your inner wealth, but that of others also. For example, um, one of the inner wells which I have not talked about so far, because I was talking a lot about the emotions and stuff like that, is curiosity. Yeah, and curiosity is very interesting because curiosity is the fundamental force which makes us explore the world and live the life, right? And that is how, because of all this curiosity, a lot of technology has got created and innovation happens. So those who definitely also focus on their curiosity will also find that they are able to not just apply towards acquiring outside wealth, but they also can become more curious about what's going on within me. So curiosity is one of the inner wealth assets, and people like Rabdeji and others also in this forum who have taken interest to be part of this session itself means that they are more curious and they are wanting to know what is inner wealth and how we can apply that in our life. So keep up this curiosity, because that is something which is very, very helpful, and just like any other inner wealth asset, it will also help you look life in a better way. Yeah, and that is what makes life interesting. So overall, the book has been organized, as I said, in three parts. The first part talks about the seven core assets. I've talked about love. I've talked about, sorry, I talked about courage. I talked about enthusiasm. I talked about faith. Then there is love. There is peace, curiosity, and joy. So these are the seven core assets which I have described. Then the second part talks of what destroys this inner wealth, what actions which we do as human beings which destroy the wealth. And the part three talks of systematic investment practices. So just like anyone who wants to grow their wealth, the mutual fund will say that why don't you start an SIP? Yeah, the systematic investment plan. So here I've said it that there is a systematic investment practices. For example, smiling is a practice, giving is a practice, appreciating others is a practice. And so, for example, I just now appreciated Vilasji for his efforts and this thing. So that appreciation is also going to help build my inner wealth as much as it is going to help build the other person's inner wealth. So these are simple actions. There are about 15 of them, and some of them can be practiced through the app. Some of them you can do it in your person. Being mindful, for example, what is being mindful about, right? So sometimes people are not observing, people are not looking at what is going around them, and they are just sitting and doing things, without taking any interest. So if you do that, just being mindful of what you are eating, what you are doing, what you are talking, what is your inner state, can also again make you so much aware, and that awareness leads to your growth of inner wealth and a deeper satisfaction, because finally we cannot live just drifting through the passage of life and assume that things will happen. So this gives you more control, because obviously if you are more aware, if you are more mindful, if you are more joyful, then you can drive life the way you want to do that. It's basically having the steering, the brakes, and the pedal in your control. Yeah. Take away any of them, life loses its meaning. Like, so if you have a car where you have brakes working and the steering working, but no accelerator, no pedal, you're not going anywhere forward, you are stuck, right? If you have the pedal and the brakes but no steering, then you cannot go where you want to go. And finally, if you have the pedal and the steering, but no brakes, then you don't know what is going to hit you or where you are going to hit yourself. So all three are essential part, and that is how the inner wealth model also has been constructed. So hopefully I have given you enough information now to prompt you to read the book and start applying. And then, of course, more importantly, I look forward to hearing your views when you have read the book. And also, as an act of giving, now the Christmas season and New Year season is there, so a lot of people give gifts. You can give this book to others, because definitely this is very precious in terms of the overall way people can make their life more beautiful, more rich, and feel happy about and satisfied about things. So that is where I would urge you to not just read but also share this concept with others. And I'm pretty sure that in your family or in your friends there would be people who would definitely benefit. And I can only request you to think about them and see how they can also improve their life by using the inner wealth framework. So this is where I would stop, and I invite questions from the participants of this session, and I'm happy to be part of this. And so thank you again, Vilasji, for giving this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vikas ji. It was a fantastic presentation,
Yeah.
I must say. And people have provoked to thought over. And I'm sure
Yes.
they will buy book. I will suggest they should buy two books, one for your own library and second
Yes.
one for gifting friends.
Yes.
We open the platform for question and answer. So please identify yourself, tell your name, and then ask question. Over.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Vikash, my name is Hemant. I'm from connecting from Indonesia right now. I'm working in
Oh,
Indonesia,
lovely.
and it was really great to have this session. And thank you, Vilasji, for organizing such beautiful session also. And I think because you did mention about Vilasji's passion, and even at this age, he's so anxious, he's so curious, he's so enthusiastic. So he's actually role model for all of us.
Indeed,
And
indeed, indeed.
he's instrumental in waking me up every day at 5:55 in the morning, so for yoga session. So,
Wow. Yeah.
so, so and so I just want to ask you what inspired you to write on this topic. And in fact, I'm gathering it's like a technical satsang. So you put a lot of satsang point into a very technical way. Okay.
Right.
And
Correct.
so
Correct. Technical
what prompted
satsang,
you?
that's a very, 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 very beautiful word you said just now, because I never thought of in that way. And satsang we often associate with singing and of course some knowledge sharing. But calling this as a technical satsang is a very interesting, you know, um,
No, because because it's a technical forum name, and then the way you have bought the topic from inner and outer wealth, so I just named it as technical satsang. It was just extempore.
wonderful. Yeah, you can take the credit for that.
So basically, what inspired you to write this book, and how much time it took for you to really put the thoughts together and consolidate?
Yes, good question. So as I told you that somewhere in last year September, I was invited by Citibank to give a talk on um, how to be an authentic leader. Yeah, how to live, be an leader, leading with authenticity and purpose. That was the name of the topic. And I kept on thinking about it, that what makes some people very purposeful, what makes some people authentic, uh, and what is the opposite of authentic? Someone who's fake, someone who's pretentious. So, what qualities do they exhibit? So then I just started making some notes, and initially I just thought that I will have a small article of few pages, written around that. And then I thought that, okay, those who seem to be very, very focused on, external comforts, external successes are people whom we do not always look up to. Yeah, because we feel that, okay, they are just being too pretentious, they are not being
Mm.
authentic.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you see here stories about inspiring leaders like Ratan Tata, like Abdul Kalam, who are very inspiring, who make us feel very comfortable. They're very caring, compassionate. So, what are those qualities? So, again, the same qualities kept on coming up: curiosity, loving nature, caring nature, courageous,
Mm.
people, and even not just leaders, but people who have sacrificed their lives. For example, we hear a lot about, certain armed forces professionals who have done brilliant acts of courage. I mean, and they,
Mm.
so
Mm.
these were all inspiring qualities which I kept on discovering. And then I thought that the only question is, why don't we focus on them? Why don't we, accumulate them? While we go, we focus so much on the external side. And it is probably our conditioning, our societal conditioning, which has stopped us from looking at that. So the whole idea of writing this book was that the society needs this. Today,
Correct.
thanks to social media, everything is getting amplified about external successes, right? I mean, people are continuously talking about how we can, you know, um, become more successful by getting into this or doing that and stuff like that. But very few are focusing on the internal, and and with that rising focus on external successes, there's an internal crisis which is brewing, right? More and more
Mm.
people are going through mental health issues,
Mm.
depression, they have suicidal tendencies. And when you bring out these concepts, and of course, I have been following spirituality for a long time, I have been practicing art of living for a long time, and
Okay.
yet, of course, with all those scriptures, which I've also been fortunate to go through. I felt that the language of spirituality also needs to be more codified and more simplified. So the inspiration was to see how we could apply the engineering mind to the problem of spirituality, or to the, not the problem, to the subject of spirituality.
Okay.
So this
Thank
is
you.
the
Thank you.
inspiration. Now your second part was how much time did it take? So I spent about 6 months in the writing part, and the other 4 or 5 months were in the editing and revising and proofreading and getting towards a publishing stage. So in and all, it took about 10, 11 months.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Uh,
Any other question? We can take one more question.
please, sir, Vilas, sir, please let allow me.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Have you given any point of actions or remedies for this problem in your book?
Yes, yes, yes. As I told you that there are very simple remedies for increasing your inner wealth, right? So there are about 15 practices which we have defined in the book.
Fantastic.
And yeah, so you can read about all of these practices and how they contribute towards inner wealth. Yeah.
This can be a really a social, you can say, social act, I should say.
Yeah, it is definitely something which should inspire
Yeah.
students and young people also to do that.
Group action. I mean to say.
Yes, yes.
Mm. Nice thing actually.
Good. Thank you.
You become wealthy solely, but while creating wealth within, you should have the group of people with whom you can be comfortable, and then you can proceed with the practicing the enriching
Yes.
the inner wealth.
Yeah, that is how happens. So, for example, like-minded people come together and they spread
Yeah.
the word, they
Yeah.
encourage or help others. Social workers also have a lot of inner wealth, but sometimes they are focusing on issues which are not exactly solving the root cause. So, for example, if you give food to poor people, you are helping that person who's hungry, but then you are not helping him become stronger. You are not helping him get his own food, earn his own food, right?
Catch them fish circle. Catch them
Correct.
fish.
Yeah, teach them how to fish rather than give them a, fish for
Yeah.
meal. So that is what the book is, to strengthen yourself, to make it easy for you to go through the rigors of life and still be coming out completely happy and completely refreshed.
Okay.
And
So that
hopefully
was
these
really
practices, hopefully these practices are contagious.
Yes, they are. They are. I mean, if you start doing it, it is as simple, and you just do it, it becomes a second part. Yeah, it takes effort to bring certain discipline. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I gave this book to several people, and many of them have not even yet read more than a few pages because, you get busy in your life. So discipline to practice inner wealth also is a discipline by itself, and that is where people often don't pay that much time and effort as much as they pay attention to their work. So, for example, many workaholics who often neglect their health, later on they realize that they have been neglecting their health, so their cholesterol or other things have gone out of the limit, and then the doctor says, hey, you need to slow down, you need to focus on your health, but they realize it much later, right? And similarly, when you look at your inner health of satisfaction of as I talked about, how do you do that? You don't do that by only giving the excuse that I don't have time. You have to build that discipline, and that is where it becomes very, very important to build these practices. But then once you start doing it, you can't, stay away from that. It becomes your nature.
Robert sir, you
okay.
can conclude, but after 10,
Yeah, yeah.
11 a.m., I will have the informal talk with him.
Okay. Now let's conclude. Thank you, Vikas ji, for this wonderful talk today.
Thank you,
I'll be
Vilasji.
requesting Makaran. Yeah, I will be requesting Makaran to say propose vote of thanks. Before that, I have a few announcements. Those who are newly joined can become a member of Tech Forum. It's a like-minded technocrat group, and we have monthly 2 Tech Talks. Sometimes we have offline also. and Anil is there to support you for membership. Next Sunday, we are going to have a talk from Hemant Bhange, who has joined us from Indonesia today, and he will be delivering his talk from Indonesia. He has written a book on Karke Dekho, so he will be sharing his thoughts and experience. I will be making the announcement on Wednesday for the Tech Talk. Of course, it will be online from Indonesia. Hemanji, would you like to say something about your book?